Ladies and gentlemen, newest member of the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't do a round-off and back handspring to get up here, but I just had a recent surgery on my back, and I'm having no problem moving around, but I am healing. Good morning, Director Geiger and the Hall of Fame Selection Board, Hall of Fame members and guests. I want you to know that I truly appreciate and I'm greatly honored to become a member of this special group of men and women. When Pete Korfeld called me about my induction, I told him that I was totally surprised. As a matter of fact, it was not even on my radar. And I assure you that I am greatly honored to be privileged to join this wonderful group. I also mentioned to Pete that his call gave me a real shock because I had this lumbar laminectomy, which is not a dance step. It gave me a shot of adrenaline, which excited me so that I could garner up enough energy to get myself down here today. And I'm totally thrilled to be with you. I'd like to introduce my wife, Nancy, who I met at Milwaukee State Teachers College. I came out of the Navy in 1947 and did a few things, and then I came into school on a GI Bill, and a good many of my friends and colleagues and so forth had been in the military, so we had military folks have a kind of a special bond, and we got along just fine and had a good time at Milwaukee State Teachers College. I'd also like to introduce my daughter, Christine. Christine is a former teacher, coach. As a matter of fact, she was quite an athlete. She was a gymnast, captain of the gym team in high school, and captain of the gym team in college. One of our rivals, UWO. And I'd also like to introduce Sarah Stern, who is currently on a scholarship here at UWM. Shocker. My younger brother's granddaughter, she would then make me she would be my grandniece. And I'm thrilled that Sarah could be with us today because, well, I don't have to say more about the fact that she's going to carry on the Stern name a little bit here at UWM, which is great. We have 3 children. Debbie, who is in the Twin Cities area. Her husband is a very heavy-duty biking gopher, Twins fan. But Debbie graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and she is a Badger. And then we have a son who graduated from the University of Minnesota. He's a Gopher fan, but he's a Packer fan, big time. And Stephen can't be here. He's in Orlando on some sort of a business-related trip. And he called and said it was 80 degrees there. And I said, well, that's nice. So, LeVar, if you do the hook on me, be gentle. I'd like to share just a couple things. Nick covered it as far as track and field, I think, very well. He talked about the personal commitment and the special thing about, you know, you're the only one hanging out there and you have to perform, and if you don't, well, that's the story. So I'm not going to get into that. I'd like to come back to a few people. By the way, as I listened and looked around here this morning, I started wondering whether I was going to be receiving an award for being the oldest guy here, because my chronology dates back to 1927, the year I was born, and that's the year that Milwaukee State Teachers College became Milwaukee State Teachers College. I don't know how many of you know that, but prior to that, in 1885, there was a normal school that was formed up and on 18th Street near downtown Milwaukee, and it was a 2-year teachers training school, because as the population of the Milwaukee area was growing, they needed teachers. Well, then things happened. Mitchell Hall was built, and in 1927, Milwaukee State Teachers College was formed up, and Mitchell Hall was the building. And so then it became a 4-year teachers training institution. By the way, Milwaukee State Teachers College had a reputation throughout the country as one of the finest teacher training institutions in the country. Well, anyway, I didn't come on board in 1927. Well, I did come on board, but not in school. So anyway, from there on, I got acquainted with Herman Kluge, the athletic director, who I had a great admiration for. Coach Kluge was a man who carried himself with what I always called military bearing. When he moved around the campus, he was erect, he was well dressed, and he had a persona that you paid attention to. I also, and incidentally, I remember taking classes from Coach Kluge, athletic training and first aid. And the one thing that really stands out is, you know, I had this surgery thing, and my wife, I couldn't see it, but she said there was some discoloration on my back. I said, oh, that's hemorrhaginous exudate. I learned that in Herman Kluge's class, and I never forgot it. And then, of course, John Tierney, Coach Tierney, in my day as an athlete in high school, we didn't have a lot of technology, and you know, the coaching was kind of, my track coach in high school, all I remember very well about him was that he always had a gun in his hand, and he'd go and stand at the starting line, and he'd say, all right, get over here, and he'd get down, and boom, you know, and he never really paid any attention to the pole vault. I learned how to pole vault in our yard, over my mom's wash line and my dad's tomato plants. And I've always, you know, as a young guy, I like to fly. I mean, I like to fly through the air. And I remember when I was 12 years old, I climbed a neighbor's tree, hung a wash line on it, and I jumped out of the tree, landed flat on my back and got knocked out cold. Well, then I started to figure out maybe I wanted to be like Tarzan, you see. But anyway, I started to think maybe I should figure out a better way to land and so forth and so on. And I got into pole vaulting. Actually, I got acquainted with a guy from Marquette University, Harvey Bearwald. Now, don't ask me how I remember that, but I remember Harvey Bearwald. And, you know, in those days, you could go on to the athletic in the stadium or the field, and nobody bothered you. Today, you can't get close. But anyway, Harvey and I got acquainted, and I'd carry his pole for him, or carry the shot for the shot putters, or whatever, you know. And Harvey said, hey, I'll hide a pole under the stands for you, and you can come and practice. So I did, but of course, I didn't have any real good coaching, and I had bad habits. And Coach John Tierney got me straightened out. I was a cross-strap vaulter. I don't know if anybody knows, it doesn't matter. But anyway, Coach Tierney kind of got me straightened out. And by the way, in my day, I vaulted with bamboo poles. In high school, you know, bamboo trees, bamboo poles. And my hero was a guy named Cornelius Warmerdam from Fresno State. Cornelius Warmerdam passed away a few years ago. He was 88 years old. With a bamboo pole, he was an Olympian. Pole vaulted 15 feet, 7 1/8 inch. And I mean, this was unheard of. Nobody got close to him. There were a couple of guys from USC, Earl Meadows, Sefton and Meadows, the Heavenly Twins. And of course, then we moved on and we had Bob Richards, the flying parson, who was one of my heroes. Warmerdam was my hero. But anyway, when I came out of the Navy, I came to school, and of course, we then had steel poles. And the pole that I used most was the Swedish steel pole, which looked like a toothpick, tapered on both ends. And so the vaulting today is it's a gymnastic event. And after I was in coaching, I had the first glass pole in the city conference when I was coaching at Pulaski High School. And I vaulted 12 and a half feet when I was 30 years old, and I said I was born 30 years too soon. So, anyway, that's the story. I remember Guy Penwell. Oh, I need to tell you about John Tierney first. John Tierney, not only was he a guru, a track guru, but he was some sort of a relationship counselor. And he claimed credit. I met my wife in the student union at State Teachers. We had three buildings on campus. We had Baker Fieldhouse and the student union, which was a Quonset hut, which was a World War II type structure. And I met Nancy over a cup of coffee in the student union. Now, Nancy doesn't drink coffee, so I don't know quite how to take that, but I do remember former Governor Dreyfus used to say, think about that while you're shaving. And also, Coach Tierney claimed credit for our getting together because we were together in a camp leadership class. And he always had a twinkle in his eye and a thing about getting guys and gals together, you see, and that was another part of Coach Tierney that maybe many people don't realize. Among the folks here and those who are on the Hall of Fame roster, there are former athletes. Joe Tarantino was one of my fellow trackmen. I used to run with Joe. No, I didn't run with Joe. I ran behind Joe. Joe was a sprinter, big time, and I'm still picking cinders out of my body from what Joe threw at me. And Dick Perez, well, he's a little younger, but there are guys that coached with me, well, I could go on, and I assure you that I'm having fun, but my wife is giving me a signal there. So I want to leave you with this. I would like to help preserve the memory of the Green Gulls. The Wisconsin State Cardinals. You see, in 1956, the Wisconsin State became UWM. But during the Wisconsin State period, which was rather short-lived, the athletes were still wearing green and white. And then beyond that, the Cardinals came into being because the student body wanted to have the colors red and white, and they wanted to be named Cardinals. But shortly thereafter, and I'm not quite sure the year, along came the Panthers, and the Panther ate the Cardinals, and they sent the red and white back to Madison. So we're Panthers. And I like to go help preserve the memories of the Green Gulls and so forth. And secondly and lastly, I am proud that you have honored me with this selection, and I will do what I can to help build and sustain the story of UWM. Thank you very much.